Jenny Toe is a qualified lawyer in the UK, Singapore, and Malaysia with more than 24 years' experience. As a coach, now Jen's coaching experience includes coaching professionals working in the legal industry, in banking and finance, in energy sectors, and entrepreneurs. Today, with us on Never Ever Give Up Hope, she is going to share her coaching process by drawing an analogy of a river. Oh, I love this, Jenny. An analogy of a river where the river source symbolizes your values and your life's direction. You are not going to want to miss this interview today, and I know many of you are going to relate to the different things that Jenny is going to share with us.
Have you ever felt like giving up, quitting, throwing in the towel? Welcome to Never Ever Give Up Hope featuring Carol Graham. She's an author, health coach, and motivational speaker. Backed into a corner multiple times in her life, Carol shares with you stories on how she overcame some of the toughest obstacles a person can go through in life, but refused to give up hope. Rather than admit defeat, an opportunity was presented, and it involves each and every one of you. Carol will feature spectacular guests who will share their messages of hope, encouragement, and their inspiration to prove why life's adversities only make you stronger. And now, welcoming the host of the show, here's Carol Graham.
We're so happy to have you with us today, and welcome to Never Ever Give Up Hope.
Thank you for having me, Carol.
So you have quite the career and quite the career change. So my first question to you today is, why did you leave your career of 24 years as a lawyer to become a certified coach?
Good question. Yeah, I think there are days when I ask myself that why as well. I am a lawyer. I still do some legal consulting work on the side because it's so much a part of me. Like you said, it's been with me for so long. It's hard to just give it up, and I still find it intellectually challenging for me. The reason why I went into coaching is more of a heart-driven passion. I'm a Christian, and I believe that this is what God is calling me into in this phase of my life. Although I was probably called back in 2015, I ignored it because the rational, practical mind says, are you crazy? You've got a steady job. I also have a family of 3 kids, so you really don't want to rock the boat at that time. You just want to keep it stable, keep it in your comfort zone. So you could say that I ignored that calling for the longest time, and it was only maybe around December 2018 that I felt really uncomfortable every time an inkling of coaching came up in my mind. I couldn't push it away. It's as though that something's not quite right, and that's what I wrote on my website. Something's missing. My life was going really well, but it just felt empty in a way. It just felt like something was missing. So with a lot of discussion with my husband and prayer, I decided to train as a coach. So given my background in law, there's a proper degree that you study for many years, and then you get qualified and you get called to the bar, and then you have to adhere to high standards and ethics. Then when I looked at the coaching profession, there isn't something like that. So I felt a bit funny about it. But I made it a point to do my research, and I decided that, okay, if I want to train as a coach, I want to train it right. So Carol, you've seen a lot of ads in social media which says train to be a coach in like 5 hours, right? For $23.99. So that's not what I did. It just didn't sound right. So I trained with an Australian school. They were doing it virtually even before COVID. And it was a year-long program. At the end of I registered as a credentialed coach with International Coaching Federation, which is still it is a global organization, but they don't mandate that coaches be credentialed. But it's a personal choice that I make, and they have, they put you through stringent coaching training and mentoring and supervision, and there's a lot of learning and development even now. And of course, Carol, there's a high standard of ethics, which now you can see the trend, right?
Right,
So
no kidding.
yeah, so I feel assured in that sense. And I also feel that, if I want to provide a service to my clients, I want to ensure that they get the best stuff, right, Carol? You don't want someone who comes to you and then you give them mediocre service. So that's where I stand from the level of integrity. So lawyering is intellectually stimulating for me. Coaching, I find that it is my purpose and I really get passionate about it. So I coach people in the States during my nighttime, after dinner, before I put my girls to bed. That's that hour where I coach my clients. So you can see how devoted I am to my business.
So let's back up a little bit
Sure.
because you raised a question that I think other people may have in the back of their minds as well. Walk me through why it is better to go this route, and what are the precautions or the challenges maybe for an individual who doesn't go this route? I mean, how do they know they're getting good coaching? What's the criteria?
So the ICF, the International Coaching Federation definition of coaching is basically a partnership or a collaboration between the coach and the client to enable the client to discover his or her full potential. So as you can see, it's a partnership. So Carol, I'm not saying
Okay.
I'm better at you in any sense. So that hierarchical difference, like I'm better than you, that usually comes in a mentoring relationship because you would be mentored by someone who's gone ahead of you in
Mm-hmm.
your career. So I always draw the distinction between mentoring and coaching. Yes, they both help you. Mentoring is, like Carol, you're telling me what you do for your business and I learn from you. Coaching, I don't tell you what you should do for your business. I'm more of your accountability partner, or some people use me as their sounding board, their thinking partner. And we create this safe space because I'm not in your life, Carol. We create this safe space so you can openly come and tell me, what you're thinking without being judged. That's the crucial thing here, without
Mm,
being judged. And you feel safe because, I really listen and I listen to what is being said, what is not said, and I sense
right.
what's going on. So we dive into your limiting beliefs, your values, and your perspectives. And in the proper coach training, we're taught, how to listen, to go to this deeper level listening, and also how to challenge the client's assumptions, not in a harmful way, but basically sometimes that we have blind spots and we just don't want to see because it's not nice seeing. So the coach allows the client to open up, and when they open up, they'll gain this insight and awareness. And once you have that insight and awareness, you don't go back. You don't go back to how things were. That's how you
Okay.
move forward. Yeah. So I also want to draw the distinction between coaching and counseling because I do coach clients who are seeing a therapist. That's perfectly fine. What we ask of the client is make sure your therapist knows you're seeing a coach and make sure your coach knows that you're seeing a therapist, because at the end of the day, we're
Mm,
both helping you, Carol. It's one person, right? So what you bring to the therapy session will come up in the coaching session. So we want to ensure that we help you in the best way possible. Again, counseling is helping you get over past emotional hurt or trauma or more deep-seated emotional issues. Coaching, we do explore things like that. However, we don't dwell there too long. We get you to recognize that you are also seeking help from a therapist, and then move forward with that clarity on how to achieve your goals, get to a better place. So a lot of times my clients come to me, they're already in a good place, they just want to get better.
so if I'm hearing you correctly, counseling is more about dealing with your past, and coaching is more about dealing with your future.
Yes, and also appreciating what you have in the present day, because a lot of times we get ahead of ourselves, we plan, and then we don't enjoy what's happening right now. So a lot of the women whom I coach are high achievers, and they find that they're always striving to be better, striving for the next goal. And I ask them, have you really set out to celebrate your current successes? And a lot of times it's not something they do, and they don't see the need to, but it is that time when you sit down to celebrate the successes that it just makes life more meaningful. And I'm not talking about big successes. I mean, the fact that you hold a job and you're able to come home and spend time with your family, that
Right.
in itself is a success.
Absolutely. I'm glad you brought that up. That's a good clarification. Now, tell us about you are a facilitator for the ICF Singapore Peer Coaching Community of Practice. What does that entail?
Yes, I did that for the whole year last year. I have since stepped down due to other projects. But what happened in that community of practice for peer coaches is, as I've mentioned earlier, being an ICF credential coach, there is an ongoing learning and development. So I facilitated this community of practice to enable coaches to come together to discuss their challenges that they face, and to have this space to brainstorm certain issues that they experience in coaching sessions without divulging any personal client information, because confidentiality is key here. So we could say that, I had a client and I had difficulty listening because I was thinking of what I would do in that situation, because Carol, at the end of the day, we're all human. So if you tell me something, I would have judgment about it. But being a trained coach, we know how to let go of that judgment, and
Oh,
we
that's
know that
excellent. Excellent. Keep going.
yeah, so we know how to let go of that judgment. So this community of practice will discuss issues like this. Sometimes we'll role play, we'll get the coach to be the client, and role play what the client would say, and then we help each other possibly give advice. So it's a very safe environment for learning and for growth, and it's been a privilege to facilitate that for 1 year. I am thinking whether I should go back, but as you know, we only have 24 hours a day. So I will probably still do something for ICF Singapore, because I volunteer pro bono as well. Every time they have an initiative, whether at the universities or women's group, which I'm very passionate about, I will lend my hours there, and I commit usually to 6 free coaching sessions for those people who come to this pro bono initiative. It's just to get people to know what coaching is about, because there's a lot of need for education in this regard.
Jen, you are also a Christian mentor in GBN Marketplace Ministry and a mentor for Mentor Ministry. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, so GBN Ministry is business ministry is here in Singapore, and the Mentor Ministry is a global initiative, and that's US based. So I'm an online mentor in that regard, and I mentor mainly through messaging. So again, that is on a pro bono basis. As for GBN, we do have face-to-face interactions with the mentee, and typically it's a situation where we share our experiences as Christian entrepreneurs or Christian professionals in the marketplace to a mentee. And a mentee's issue is usually, I feel a bit lost. I don't know what to do with my business. I am a Christian, and yet I feel all this tension and struggle. And the aim is to encourage our mentees to see their lives holistically. You are a Christian, you are an entrepreneur, you are a person in the marketplace. You don't distinguish it. So you don't take off your entrepreneurship hat when you go to church, and you don't take off your Christian hat when you are running your business. It's to live life authentically as who you are. So again, mentoring, we share our experiences, whereas in coaching, if I were to coach a Christian entrepreneur, I will not be, my first instance will not be to share my experience, is to discover what that person needs. And a lot of times if that person asks me, okay, Jenny, what would you do in my shoes? I will take a step back and I will ask that question. What I do may not be relevant for you. So what do you need to know here for yourself? So in coaching, I always believe that the client has the full resources to find the solution. It's just that sometimes we're blindsided, sometimes we're just overwhelmed. So coaching really provides that space for you to think clearly.
All right. We're going to take just a very short break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about, I think this is your passion, which is river life coaching and how you can
Sure.
help us, how you can help the audience today, and what you have to offer. We'll be right back.
Carol Graham would like to show you the path from misery to miraculous triumph in her fast-paced memoir, Battered Hope. She relates her determination to succeed as someone who experienced one horrendous nightmare after another. Gang raped and left for dead, loss of a child, husband falsely imprisoned, and cancer. Nothing could break her tenacity or faith. No matter what you face, heartache, loss, suffering, or injustice, Carol will illustrate how she became a victor the same way you can. The secret is to never, ever give up hope. Order your copy at Amazon or batteredhope.blogspot.com.
Been really interesting, definitely enlightening, and also stimulating because what you are sharing and essentially how to look for a coach, even though you're not saying that, but that really is the message that I'm getting, and you've made such a fine distinction, and I appreciate that so much. And we talked a little bit about mentoring too and the distinction there, so thank you for making those and sharing those distinctions. Now we're going to talk about your passion, which is river life coaching. First of all, where did it get its name? And please share how that affects us.
Okay, thanks, Carol. And yes, it is indeed my passion. I remembered that when I was training as a coach, my youngest daughter, who was, let me see, 7 then, she asked me this question, Mommy, do you love coaching more than me? It did hit me because I was spending so much time in it. Of course, I assured her that I love her. At the same time, I think it's a healthy example for me to show her that, yes, as a woman, you can pursue your passions and still be, a very present mom. And I think that I am setting a good example for her. So to answer your question, I came up with the idea of river life coaching during my coach training itself. We were told to write a paper on our coaching process or model, and a lot of my friends did quite a trendy thing, which is to summarize the process in an acronym. And I didn't want to do that, because somehow it just didn't resonate with me. So I did spend some time reflecting and praying. And as you know, in the Bible, the word river comes up a lot. So I was inspired by it, and I thought, okay, how can the coaching process be like a river? So I reflected that. I did a bit of research on how a river actually works. So I used that as an
Oh,
analogy to
interesting.
life. Yeah. So the river source is where the river flows. So to us in our life, the river source is our core values and beliefs. And from there, your life's river will flow. It will take that direction based on, your river source. And then a lot of us, we want our rivers to flow smoothly and calmly, watering the banks and reaching life around us. And that's ideally a full and rich life. Unfortunately, our river tends to meander. It will hit rocks. There'll be periods where it's very shallow. There'll be periods where it's like, rapids. So I coach people through their respective rivers, and to see how they can eventually have the river flow smoothly until it reaches, the river delta, which is the ocean, and that is our legacy. So I do ask the legacy question a lot to my clients, and some of my clients are much younger than me, and they say, Jenny, I've never thought about legacy because, I'm so young, I'm so enthusiastic about life. Then I'm saying legacy doesn't mean to say that you're going to die. It's just that point when you reflect, what is my life all about, and what do I want my life to mean, and how am I impacting the people around me. So that's basically my coaching process. So I love it, and that's why I named my company after it. Yes, so I have the signature program, which is basically taking you through this process and identifying what are your bigger goals and ultimately what's your purpose. So that will take a 6-month commitment. I also have this program called Introverted Visibility because I'm an introvert, Carol, and I noticed that there are a lot of people nowadays facing issues on how to be more visible at the workplace and how to be authentic, because a lot of introverts tell me that if I want to be visible, I feel inauthentic. I feel that I have to put up a front. So I coach them to discover what their strengths are and how to show up authentically, because introverts are great at building relationships. It's just that we tend to do it more one-to-one, a bit more personal. We don't talk that much in meetings. So it's to shift your thinking about networking and making an impact and communicating. So I also coach people on that. And there are clients who come to me more for a faster solution. I'm not saying that it's a quick fix, but you could have a specific goal, like someone needs to make a career transition or wants to seek a promotion. So that's more targeted. So I offer the stream coaching program, which is about 3 to 5 sessions. It's customized to your specific goal. Yeah.
Oh, excellent. And maybe give us a little idea of some of the things that you do address.
Okay, so I've touched a bit about career transition, career goals. There is also a lot on work-life integration. I mean, people used to say work-life balance, but everything in our life seems imbalanced nowadays, especially if you're working from home. So it's more on how to integrate life into work and work into life. And I also coach parents of young children, because they find that working from home, they may be physically present, but they're not really present with their children, and it does affect them. Another big theme is diversity and inclusion. I'm not saying it because it's trendy. I'm saying it because it's very real in people's lives now, especially if you're working remotely and if you're being onboarded to a new organization. It's all done virtually or remotely. How do you connect with your manager? How do you deal with your own perspectives while not really knowing who your manager and team members are?
That's interesting because I think that is definitely an issue in a lot of organizations and a lot of people who are doing what you're doing as well. So, hence, you saw a need and you're filling that need. You said on your website that you help people gain in depth awareness and clarity of their values and beliefs. Could you expound a little bit more on that?
Sure, Carol. So when I coach people and ask them what do you think your values are, a lot of times they will hem and haw because they're not too sure, and they will say that, oh yeah, I've been told that I am a good strategist, I can problem solve. So those are your strengths and attributes at the workplace. They're not really your values. So what I do with my clients is direct them to this website. It's a positive psychology website. It's called Values in Action, and there is a survey there. And what it will give you is your top 5 core or character strengths. So it's simple words like humility, integrity, justice. So my strength is currently gratitude. That's my top strength. And I've done this assessment at least 4 times over a period of 6 years. My top 5 strengths have always been the same. It's just that sometimes they move in terms of moving from number 1 to number 3. So right now, the one that I did recently, gratitude, has come up at the top. And what that means, Carol, is that everything I view in life, I view it from a position of gratitude. So I'm not saying that I am taking this Pollyanna approach and saying that life is good all the time. Even though there are difficulties, I tell myself, what can I learn from this?
Oh,
And what
thank you.
lesson?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. And what
ahead.
lesson is it there for you to grow into? So if I'm with a difficult person, I will ask God, okay, what do you want me to learn from here? Is it patience? Is it empathy? A lot of times is letting go of selfishness. So I ask my clients to do that, and it's free, and I can give you the link, Carol, so you can put it in your show notes. And it's a very good starting point, because then they'll tell me that, oh, I knew that all along. It's just that it has helped me articulate it. And a lot of times, if you're living life not aligned with your values, you get this something is missing feeling. It's like something's not quite right. So it's a very good sense. It's like your compass. It doesn't solve all your problems, but it's a compass to give you direction, to give you the sense of purpose.
Now, is there anything else that you want to share with the audience that possibly we didn't cover already?
Just believe that you are at this phase in your life right now for a reason. A lot of times we're thinking, oh, if only the pandemic could be over, then my life would begin. No, I started my business during the peak of the pandemic. So, and I'm sure, Carol, you did a lot of things during the
Yes,
pandemic.
exactly.
So if you wait and say, life will get better, then you're missing out on a lot of things. So one encouragement that I'll give to your listeners is take stock of what you have right now. See what you can do with it out of the mess that we're all in. And if it helps, see who is that one person you can touch and you can impact. So I often look at my daughters and I say, okay, what can I do to impact them, to leave, a good example to them, or to my clients, how can I help them in this point of time in their life? So it's being present and it's being grateful for what you have. I'm not saying that, ignore the difficulties. The difficulties are there. But again, it's there for a reason, and hopefully it's there only for a season in your life.
I'm glad you said that, and I think that a lot of people are beginning to realize that to stop making excuses and to use what could be a setback as a stepping stone. That's what I'm hearing you saying, and that's what I'm hearing a lot of the people that I'm interviewing now are giving that same message. We were all thrown into this and literally thrown into it. And now we're learning to live with it rather than whining and moaning about that we're still in this position. Do you want to expound a little bit on that?
Well, I'm glad it resonates with you. And I also want to say that, okay, on some instances, it's okay to whine and moan because we are only human. And I think
That's true.
that the whole idea of being authentic is, if you keep saying that, I'm fine, then you're not being authentic. So
Oh,
there's a
yes,
lot
yes, yes.
more recognition now in the workplace as well to say that it's okay not to be okay. I know it's a trendy hashtag, but there is significance in that, to admit that it's okay not to be okay. I mean, just yesterday I shared with a good friend. I told her that I think I'm languishing today because, out of nowhere, I just feel that, oh, is this what life is all about? So even me as a coach, even me as being so self-aware, I do go periods where it does feel a bit low, and it's perfectly fine as
Mm-hmm.
well. So I think the main thing is acknowledge your emotions, recognize your emotions. However, know that your emotions do not make who you are. I think sometimes we mistake that because we say that, oh, I'm anxious and therefore I'm an anxious person. You're not an anxious person, you're just going through some anxiety. And by recognizing that the emotion is not you, you're able then to kind of look at it more objectively and say, okay, I'm anxious. What's causing this anxiety? Can I reach to someone for
Mm-hmm.
help?
Mm-hmm.
Can I call you, Carol, if I need to talk to you? Things like
Right,
that, rather
right.
than say, I'm anxious, there's no hope, I can't do anything about it. So it's recognizing emotions are not who you are. And also, I know it sounds a bit cliche, you do need to take care of yourself. So sometimes, if we are working all the time from home, you don't take a break. I've coached clients to say that, I work during dinner, I work after dinner, I work before bedtime. So
Mm-hmm.
there's really no boundaries. So actually, one self-care approach would be to know when to shut down your laptop and not to look at it again, once you've closed it. Yeah.
I think a key word here would be balance, correct?
Yes.
And I
Yes.
appreciate what you said about boundaries because I learned that maybe 3 years ago, and what a difference it's made. My phone goes off, my computer goes off, and my evenings are with my family. And if somebody needs to contact me, I mean, they can if it's an emergency. Is that what you're saying? Set your own boundaries.
Yes, set your own boundaries, and if you are very productive at night, okay, that's your prerogative. But
Okay, okay.
at the same time, sleep is important. So
Yes, exactly. But it is balance, right? I mean, however we choose to draw those boundary lines, we are still drawing those lines. Am I correct in hearing you there?
It's also, yes, and it's also recognizing what your priorities are. So, what are your non-negotiables? So, for me, definitely family, definitely time with God,
Okay,
definitely
okay.
my business. So, those are big buckets. So, once you know what your priorities are, and you know that they are not your non-negotiable, so schedule time to make
Yes,
sure that happens. Then, of course, everything else that comes in your way, you can slot them in between, or you could say, "Oh, I don't need to look at this today," because you know what your priorities are.
right. Oh, thank you for clarifying that. You said that so well. Thank you, thank you. That was wonderful. Well, this again, I appreciate you sharing what you did today. There are so many things to think about. I think we need to listen to this interview at least 2 times and definitely to connect with Jenny on her website. And in the show notes, there's going to be a link that, as she just shared, about Values in Action survey. So we have that as well. And her services are available from her website. You can connect with her, follow her, and I hope that you were encouraged today. And thank you so much, Jenny, for being on Never, Ever Give Up Hope.
Thank you, Carol.
Thank you for listening to Never Ever Give Up Hope, featuring Carol Graham. Did you know that most people succeed because they are determined to? Quitting was never an option. Carol loves your comments and will respond to each one. So please subscribe and review this podcast. A rating of 5 stars would be outstanding and appreciated. Remember, if you are still here, there is always hope.